At long last, the longest hiatus for Hunter x Hunter has officially come to an end. It's been like 4, 5 years? Like, to put this in perspective of how long ago that was, if you go back to the previous chapter, you will literally see Manga Stream logo attached to the chapter. Which, FYI, I believe they don't even translate chapters anymore. So the fact that this is here for the last chapter, and I think they've been gone for a very long time, just really is telling by just how long it's really been. So, we knew it was coming. I made a video on this, I've talked about this, I've been staying very closely intertwined with the Hunter x Hunter news. For instance, Togashi himself going on social media, creating chapters or, drawing pages, sharing it with people, giving brief previews that, yes, he is working on Hunter x Hunter, to, finding out earlier this month that Hunter x Hunter would definitely return, and here it is. We are given a very beautiful color page, and I want to shout something out here with this color page I'm currently looking at. I really love how Yusuke Urameshi is on this cover. I know everybody's going to be excited for Golem, but I feel like there is a lot of people actually out there that might not even have watched or read Yu Yu Hakusho. And the fact that I see, Urameshi here, it's just nice. This is a very nice image. I think that, Togashi did a very good job with this image, and it sparked me with a lot of emotion as soon as I saw this. And I want to keep this real with you, okay? It's been a long time. Like, it has been a long time. Like, to put this in perspective, I didn't remember this chapter. Like, I had to go back and I had to reread a few of the previous chapters. I didn't remember the content of the chapters. It's been so long. Like, legitimately, the last thing that I remembered was one of the sisters basically dying and then her nin beast, turning into her. That's kind of like the last thing that really came to my mind and all that. And I was just like, when I saw this chapter come out, I was like, holy crap, I need to kind of, resituate myself, know what I'm currently reading, because there's just so much. And I'm going to be honest with you, I definitely need to sit down later today or tomorrow and just reread this entire arc. And that's an undertaking in of itself, because anyone that's obviously made it this far for Hunter x Hunter knows just how wordy this series is. Like, it is legitimately such a wordy series. Like, if you look at the dialogue, like, seriously, the dialogue is jam-packed within this story, and when it comes to, like, most manga, it's like, you have a speech bubble here and there, but just the speech bubbles for Togashi's manga for Hunter x Hunter has just always been ridiculous, and when you look at something like this, it's just like, holy crap, it stands out. But, yeah, so I just want to do a few FYI. So, as I've kind of made it clear, there's definitely things I have forgotten. And I will correct that for, like, the upcoming chapters, and I definitely will reread the arc, okay? I wanted to celebrate this joyous time of Hunter x Hunter being back and enjoying one of my personal favorite manga of all time. Being able to enjoy the chapter and just see new pages, new dialogue, and Togashi just cooking in the kitchen and making something just straight up 10 out of 10. I wanted to experience it. But I will definitely have to sit down and reread everything again. But okay, with that little disclaimer out of the way, let's just talk about this chapter, okay? So, FYI, one of the big things that we get to see with this chapter, we get a little bit about, the Mafia that is working for this character, by the way. Like, this character is the one that is able to, I believe, give abilities to people. Like, here, let's go to her nin. Yeah, so her ability, I believe, yeah, she can level them to level 100, and I remember this. I remember this in the previous chapters. I had to look her up just to make sure I remembered it all. But this is, like, the legitimate child of, like, one of the successors, or with the boss, or whatever, as you can see here. And so, I was like, okay, so that's what's going on with the Mafia. You have the Mafia kind of going at each other, you have the individuals that attack this guy in the middle of the chapter and all that, they're working for the person that just showed you, and they're getting level ups that they kill people, and they can get stronger. It's kind of like a, a power fantasy game, which is kind of interesting, honestly. Very cool concept, and it shows Togashi's overall love for, gaming in general, RPGs, Dragon Quest, etc. But, my goodness, just look at all this dialogue. So, yeah, I had to resituate myself, and I was just thinking about, okay, so what's going on here? They're searching for, Hisaka. which makes sense. Just to make sure we're all on the same page here, I think everybody will remember this because it's a big thing about this arc, but, Hisaka is on the ship, and, the spiders, are also on the ship. Hisaka is no longer playing any games. He's like, I want to go after all of them. I want to kill them. That's simple as that. That's really as simple as it pretty much gets. Obviously, it's a cat and mouse game. Like, I think that, Hisaka being in the shadows and nobody can find him, it's just very much like a cat and mouse game. He's no longer playing any games, and he's just going after the spiders in any way he seems fit. And I think that the overall reveal of whenever we see Hisaka for the first time in this arc is going to be amazing, because we know that Hisaka could put on, like, his bungee gum or whatever. He could just change his face with, like, different things. He can put his body parts back together and all that. And so when you really think about it, it's very possible he's just disguising as someone, looking around, journeying through the crowd, and, for all we know, he might even be one of the princes. I mean, he might kind of kill one of the princes and fit in as their body double or something. All I'm trying to say is that when you think about just, like, Hisaka as a character, when it finally is revealed wherever he's at in the ship, these characters find him, it's gonna be cool. But here's the thing I do want to point out. I find it funny that, these individuals are all, like, searching for Hisaka, but if they were to find him, oh my goodness, they're dead. Like, they're dead. Like, okay, let's all be fair here, okay? Hisaka is super powerful. He's not all powerful. There's definitely characters within the series that we've seen that probably could beat him up. I mean, Netero, good example. Meruem, obviously. I mean, Adult Gon. I mean, we know for a fact that there's characters that would demolish Hisaka. But at the same time, though, Hisaka is very dangerous. He is not a weak man by any means. We all know this. And so whoever is the lucky or technically unlucky one to find him on this ship, they're going to die. I want to say. And knowing how Togashi writes his story, it can be a great character we get attached to just gets killed off. That's the truth. That's what he does. He doesn't care. Like, he writes and he cooks in the kitchen. He makes some good stuff. Like, he makes some really good stuff, and it just comes out of shock because he knows when to put this emotional weight of when a character needs to die or not. But okay, enough with that. Let's dive into the nitty-gritty of this chapter. I really love the simplicity of this chapter. Like, okay, so there's obviously a lot going on, but it's, for Hunter x Hunter standards, it's a simple chapter. Which says a lot, honestly, despite how much information you can kind of get from this. I mean, we got the whole nin stuff with the blood, with the eyes. We get, this man's re-updated ability to where he's able to, like, turn objects and weapons into, different animals and creatures to move them around, but they keep their functionality of what they had, which was said in a previous chapter. There's a lot of things. Like, we get to see basically a brief description of these abilities and, how the Mafia are going at each other. It's like, that's the cut and dry point of the chapter. That's literally what it is. These two groups killing each other and trying not to get caught, trying not to have the Justice Department or the military enforcement come in and stop them, lock them up, etc., because there is still laws that they obviously have to abide by. But it's a very nice little chapter to kind of get back into the swing of things, and I gotta say, I think that this ability right here I want to talk about, Lethal Weapon Disorder. So this guy, obviously, he dies. What we know at the end of the chapter here, which I'll, go further down, we know he dies because it's like, he puts the axe in his back. We see that. Like, we know he's done. But I think that what makes, or not axe, actually, it's like a drill. I don't know it is an axe. But what makes his ability so interesting, like why I like his ability, is that he's able to turn himself into a weapon. And it's simplistic, but it's dangerous in theory. Think about this, okay? He's able to turn his own flesh and blood into anything he wants like a weapon. He basically says that himself. Like a living weapon. So, if he was to learn mastery of his ability and get a lot stronger, he theoretically could become a nuke. Theoretically. Now, I don't know exactly the full-on limitations, because once again, the way this chapter describes it, he's only able to shift his right hand into a weapon, but if he was able to level up, his ability probably would evolve. He would probably be a lot stronger, and maybe more of his body could be shifted into an entirely new weapon. And also, speaking of turning into a weapon, I really feel like this entire character right here Togashi definitely was inspired by Chainsaw Man, or inspired to some degree of just like some of the modern day shonen, which is fine. I think that's cool to see, and it shows that maybe he likes Chainsaw Man. I can be entirely wrong with that, but that's my impression of the matter. But once again, I want to dive a little bit deeper on this. So, as I said, if his ability evolved, if he was capable before he died, he might have been able to turn into a nuke or a walking just like mech or something. I don't know. The point is that the possibilities of that ability is scary. Thankfully, he never got to utilize it because he would be a dangerous character. Now, another thing too I want to talk about is this man's ability. So, it's been a while. I want to kind of refresh everybody. Basically, turning, inanimate objects into living creatures is also very, very useful because we get to see multiple applications of it within this chapter. The end of last chapter, the chapter that we've been on break for like 4 or so years, we found out that he's able to turn basically guns into snakes and still do what they do here, which is like, holy crap. But, the point is that's obviously basic. He's able to turn like a weapon like that into an object and get rid of people. But seeing him turn in like handcuffs into a dove or bird or whatever pigeon is incredibly useful because for one, he has mobile flying like handcuffs that can just attach to people he can control at will. He has them nin reinforced, and it can be very, very useful to just lock someone up when they least expect it. Like, just sneak up behind them and just chain them like you see in this chapter. I mean, we have other applications as well. We get to see the man have a cat. Like, he turns, like, a camera/recording into a cat, which I think is also incredible. It shows his level of surveillance is high, that he can gather so much information by just, like, turning random cats or dogs, or turning, like, cameras or whatever into cats or dogs. Because, let's, be honest here. You would probably see in a world, any type of world, seeing a dog or a cat walk down the road, you'd be like, oh, that's so cute, or, can I pet you, or whatever, and they would probably act like a regular cat. I mean, you even see it start to meow and stuff in the chapter. So, it implies that if you didn't know it was, like, a nin creation, or detected, or whatever, it could easily gain surveillance, because people are going to walk up to pets. People are going to walk up to a cat, people are going to walk up to a dog and want to pet it, and you can get a lot of faces and learn a lot about the environment and where people are going to and from. It's a powerful ability. Overall, this man has a really strong ability that I think is probably underrated, because we've seen a lot of strong stuff, but I think that, once again, when it comes to nin abilities, it's just the uniqueness of them that really just makes the power system of Hunter x Hunter stand out. I think that's one of the big reasons why we all really love Hunter x Hunter, is just how in-depth the power system actually can be, because even characters that have throwaway abilities that might not be that crazy looking turn out to be some of the craziest because of just how they're used or applied to a certain situation. So, yeah, just, this is a nice return to form. I really love this chapter. I love getting to see the hunt for Hisaka continuing on, and we know that, according to the post on social media from Togashi, I think he's gotten 10 chapters, at least rough drafted. So, we know at the very least we're gonna have 10 chapters. At least a volume's worth of content. Now, will he stick around? Will Togashi stick around after that? Nobody knows. I'm not going to put that bad mojo out in the air, though, because it's very clear something about this time around with, Togashi drawing Hunter x Hunter is a little bit different. I feel like there's something fundamentally very different this time around with Hunter x Hunter, because, for one, with Togashi being so public about his return, for instance, making a social media account, sharing, posts, etc., it's very, very public, because when you think about Togashi, he's kind of more of a private life guy. He keeps everything private. He doesn't talk a whole lot about his personal life, which is fine, but he keeps a lot of things, behind closed doors. And to see the fact that he made an account to allow people to know he's working on it, kind of puts this, like, weight on him to kind of be consistent. Maybe that's why he did it. He wanted people to see that he is being consistent, he isn't being lazy, he is working on it, which I think anyone at this point that is still reading Hunter x Hunter knows he isn't lazy. He has health problems. And that's true. He has health problems. And I wonder what really lit a fire under him to make him start, doing what he's doing, being just so more outspoken about his chapters. But, yeah, so just a return to form. Once again, I'm sorry I couldn't go too in-depth with this chapter. I need to reread the arc. That's the truth of the matter, and I apologize for that. But I will sit down, I will reread the arc, because Hunter x Hunter deserves it. It's a good series. It's a good manga. One of the best manga I've ever read. But yeah, tell me your thoughts. Are you happy that Hunter x Hunter is back? Are you upset that Hunter x Hunter is back? I don't see why anyone would, but tell me your thoughts in the comments below how you felt about it. Leave me a like on this video if you enjoyed the video. But with that, be safe, stay healthy, Chibi out.